Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Well, good morning, top of the morning in sunny California. You're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live with nothing but straight talk, folks. That's how we do it around here, nothing but straight talk. My co-hosts are, I have two co-hosts, so pretty soon I'm going to have a third co-host. Anyway, that's Shawannah Bordenave. She's a real estate guru. She buy houses, sell houses, flip houses. This chick does everything you can do to houses. Good morning, Shawannah, and how are you today? Shawannah, are you there? Or are you out trying to sell a house? Shawannah, are you there?
I am here, Dr. Rosie. I am here.
I want to know how you're doing this morning. I just introduced you.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm doing pretty good. You have to appreciate I hear every day. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I understand a lot's going on, but we're glad to have you back with us today, okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rosie. Thank you.
Okay, my other co-host is
here.
Good. And Mr. Keith Swanson, I think they're trying to locate him, you guys. He's the AI man. He's the one people have been looking for. Way before AI got popular in the media, people were asking, is Keith really real? Is he an AI? Yes, he is, you guys. And he's been in your myth. He's always at Black Writers on Tour. And speaking of that, coming up soon, you guys, April 26th, it's going down at the Carson Community Center, the 29th annual Black Writers Plus Business Plus Tech Expo is taking place April 26th at the Carson Community Center. General admission is free. All the seminars are free. Folk parking is free. Wow, I'm telling you guys, we're looking for you. So look out and wait for that. But if Keith has joined, he'll let me know when he comes in. But I think we have, I forgot, I stopped thinking. I know. I'm going to stop thinking, Shawannah, and go into the no end. That we have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about things your family needs to know about emergency preparedness. Now, I hear AI man. Hi, Keith, how are you?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. One thing about emergency, they don't send warnings. Earthquake, fires, floods, or power outage. We had one last week. Hits at any time. Yet, too many families wait until it's too late to prepare. My question is, will your family be scrambling for survival or moving with a plan if an emergency strikes? That is the question. Your family, will they be scrambling for survival or moving with a plan? If a disaster struck tonight, would your family be ready? Would you have food, water, power? Does everyone in your household know what to do? Have you all had that sit down, that family conversation? I really believe right now people may be more willing to be engaged because these emergencies are striking all over the United States and all over the world. So do you think by now, Keith, you guys, that people have emergency preparedness on their agenda?
No, they don't.
Still?
We just went through this with the fires. Remember we went through this in was it January? Just went through this.
Yeah.
And guess what? How many people were actually prepared?
People just don't believe
it's going to happen to them.
It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. You know, I asked the question. I want the callers to think about it. Do you have an emergency plan? Are you just hoping for the best if something does happen? What's the one thing you know you should have, but you don't? Those are some things I want the audience to answer today. What are some of the things you know you should have, but you don't? Who in your family would struggle the most if this has to hit tonight? That's the question. Who would struggle the most? You may have a disabled person. You may have a challenged child. And Keith, what amazed me that there are families where their family member is on oxygen and
right.
They have no backup.
Yeah.
They have no backup. In fact, the lights went off at my business last Thursday, I believe, at 4:00. And I live close to my business, so the lights went out at my home. And they didn't come back on until 3:30 that morning.
Okay.
But what I had, let me be honest, to tell y'all the truth, I wasn't ready. I'm just, I ain't gonna lie today. You know, I sent my son to Home Depot to get a battery lamp. They're really nice. They got those battery lamps that will light up the whole room. And that's what really prompted me to do the show. Because all the preparedness that I've gone to seminars, and you come back home, you hear all that good information, and you do just like you do when you leave church. Come on home and keep doing the same old thing. Don't you guys write me notes about this? You know, you got these church folks out there. When I say stuff like this, well, Dr. Miller, you shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I know what you do. You come on home, you keep cussing, you keep not cooking for your husband. Just keep doing what you've been doing. But you heard a good sermon. I heard great seminars, but I came home and the man talked about these things, Keith. He talked about the battery lamp. Because I didn't even know about the battery lamp. I was so excited at that seminar, came home, didn't do it. No lights.
Yeah. Fortunately, it wasn't citywide. It was just locally.
Yes, and good that our Home Depot have generators so they would still open. But folks, they have those batteries for lamps. They also have batteries for your phone charger. Folks, this is really important.
Right.
This is really important. I'm bringing this out so you can be ready. Because if it's darkened and other things happen at the same time, do you know where your emergency stuff is? Can you feel your way through? Some people didn't even have a flashlight.
Right.
Didn't even have a candle. In times like these, when emergencies are hitting all over this country,
right,
there's folks still riding around with their car almost on empty. Wow. What will it take? Then it's going to be the hindsight. Folks, you don't want to get caught up with the hindsight. You want to get your house in order. And this isn't a nice to know topic here today. It's life or death. We're talking about a life or death situation. So you got to think about, are your family ready? And most of all, I said to my staff, I said, it's important to keep some money at home, at least $500. And my staff said, $500? Most people don't have that in the bank, let alone at home. But I tell you what, if you don't have it, you better try to find it.
Yeah, you can accumulate it over time. You don't have to have it all at once.
Keep all that change. Every time you go someplace and you get change, or put $1 to a day every time you get $1 bill. Folks, you got to have some money in your house. That's part of the emergency plan. It really is. Family members, the other thing, you need to start increasing your brain power so you don't get dementia at an early age by thinking. But people don't want to think. They don't have to, because all I have to do, if I want to call my daughter, I pick up my cell phone. What if that cell phone, the battery's down, you can't charge it up, You're in an emergency. Who can you call? Can you call your daughter? Can you notify your family? What can you do? These things are important.
Or at least have it written down somewhere that, if you have a emergency stash of money, you should have a notebook with these things in it right next to the money.
You really should have these phone numbers. Folks, stop relying on your cell phone. You should get your little small telephone book, write down the numbers of people that you need to call in emergency, important people. It's really important, key for people to do that. Yeah. But we are so reliant on technology that we have forgotten the basic thing. I was listening to a talk show this morning. In fact, all the weekend they had business guests on, and every one of them, it's like we throw out the old and bring in the new and do not, incorporate. Every one of them, Keith, instead of, they had the opportunity. The host said, how can people reach you? They start talking about their QR code. Yeah. You can find me on Facebook. And then when they gave their name out, it was such a complicated name, you couldn't even spell it. And I'm saying, what is wrong with this generation?
Technology makes us weaker in some ways. The tools make things simpler, but also you lose something every time you use the tools. That's why I had to stop my grandson from using ChatGPT and the other kind of AI engines, right? Because it made him not use his brain because he relied on the tool too much.
And that is so important. Yeah. So folks, are you prepared? Are you prepared for an emergency? Yeah. Could you reach your family if the electricity went out? Well, most people have a cell phone. That's why I'm saying it's important to pick up a battery charger because most people don't have a landline.
Well, the thing is, if I know it's an expense, okay, but the thing is, and the way they do with the landlines have changed a little bit. The thing is, with a landline, okay, a landline doesn't depend on the power grid. It has its own grid. That's the only thing about a landline. That's like even at the house we have one landline. Even though we have cell phones, we always have a landline. It's because that's the one thing that will not go down. In emergencies, a landline and a portable, a battery-powered radio for emergencies. Most people don't think about that. Okay.
Well, you just brought something to my attention that if the electricity went out, it doesn't impact your phone.
No, unless they've changed the laws recently. Okay, the reason that landlines have to have their own power is because in case of an emergency, that is your last chance as far as communications. Okay, the two things I always tell you: have a landline. If you think about emergencies, you have a landline and have a battery operated radio. Okay, because a battery operated radio doesn't depend on plugging it into anything, and it doesn't depend on wires or the internet or something like that. It's over the air, and those two things are supposed to be working in case of emergencies. Those two things.
Right. At least you can know what's happening. You can keep up with the news. That makes sense. Right.
And if you have an emergency in your house, okay, as long as your house is standing, okay, your landline is supposed to be able to work because it has its own. It doesn't run off the current of the electrical grid.
Okay, so it's good to have a landline. It's good to have a battery charger for your cell phone because most people today do not have a landline. All they're operating is on that cell phone.
The thing, just like, one thing you can learn from people in the developing world like Africa, right? Okay, how do they charge their cell phones when there's no grid? They have a solar cell. You can buy a cheap solar cell with a battery that in case the electricity goes down, you have to use a cell phone. Hopefully that your cells are still working because I do believe the cells work off the grid. But in case the cells are still working, you can always charge your devices, okay, like your cell phone.
Folks, I hope you'll listen. You'll listen. You can reach us and join in the conversation. Call 310-928-7733. That's 310 928-7733.
Yeah.
Or you can email us here. You know how it is. You're at work. You don't want anybody to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't want to know that you're not talking to a customer or listening to a customer. You can email us here at Innerlight, INNER, Innerlight at yahoo.com. That's at yahoo.com. So pick up the phone.
It just depends on your level of emergency. Like, say, for the most part, most people in Los Angeles have a gas-powered range. Say if you don't, right, should have charcoal inside your garage, a bag of charcoal, just in case you need to cook. It's old-fashioned. It's outdated. Yeah, we think of it for barbecues, but the thing is, guess what they use in the developing world and third world? They use charcoal to cook. Okay, so in case you don't, say if you have an all-electric house, okay, what happens when the power goes out? Guess what you can't do? You can't cook, right? So what do you do?
Well, Keith, most of them ain't doing that no way. Okay,
That's true.
They better pray that McDonald's has a generator. I'm just saying.
That's true.
But the other thing, Keith, people need to know, well, they should have a fire extinguisher in their home.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't.
Most people don't.
You should know how to disconnect that gas, how to cut off your gas. How many of you out there know how to cut off the gas to your house? I didn't know until I went to this preparedness meeting. Then I did go home and I found out where that was. How many of you know how to shut the water off?
Right.
I mean, these are emergency things. I think we have a caller on hold. So caller, feel free to open up and chime in. Just open your mic and give us your name, where you're calling from, and what is your take on the topic. I think we have Mr. Ricky Davis on the line. Mr. Ricky, are you out there? Okay.
Still holding, yeah. I mean, there's it just depends on the level of emergency. Say like we go back to the fires, we have to you have to leave the house in a hurry, right? Okay, that could be it could be a fire or a flood or something like that, or something that you really need to leave the house. Or it could be. It just depends on the level of emergency. So say like hello,
yes.
Yeah, you got to turn down your sound in the background.
Turn your sound down in the background and come on in.
Okay. But the thing is, one thing they always taught us is you have to have what they call a bug out bag, right? You have to have your emergency cash. You have to have water. You got to have a spare change of clothes, spare change of shoes, stuff like that, and gloves in case there's glass, something like that. It should all be in a bag or a duffel bag. Either someplace like in the garage or in your car. Okay, so when you gotta go, right? Some people say either water or portable water filter. Okay, and so say like something happens in the fire. Okay, you got to bug out. Okay, so you got 5 minutes to get out your house, right? You hit that bag. Go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you can't get up with those house shoes. No. I mean, because you may run through glass. You can create more of an emergency for yourself. You want to have a pair of decent shoes.
Right.
I think right now we need to just stay prepared for an emergency right now. And not just because you're in California, wherever you are. I think it needs to be a family conversation, because you want your kids to know where their shoes are, to know where they can grab a coat. I just think the whole house right now, because we're in a state of emergency. Make no mistake about it. So it's not if, it's when. It's when. So we need to have these conversations. I mean, even if you go to places, even like churches, they should be talking about it. Because what if an emergency happens while you're standing there in service? I bet you've never heard anyone say, if an emergency comes, they don't even tell the people which exit, don't get on the elevator.
Yeah.
We have gotten too lax, too comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Too comfortable. I think we had someone on the line that wanted to get in and have that say. Go ahead and open your mic, caller. We're ready to hear from you.
Caller.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
And name me where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Ricky Davis.
Okay. Hey, Ricky. Where you calling from, Ricky?
Calling from Los Angeles, California.
Okay. Go ahead. What's your take? Jump in.
Well, I appreciate the information that you guys are sharing, because right about now, I don't really think people are really taking seriously what is going to come. Not if, but what is going to come. We've been listening to the news about what Canada is threatening to do as far as cutting off power, and then we're listening to all these different things, and I think people are not really taking it seriously. What I've been doing, I know, some of the things that my pastor has been sharing with us over the pulpit is that these are the times now where you need to stock up on canned goods, dry foods, because in the event that you don't have any power, you're not going to be able to cook. You know what I'm saying? Or if let's just say the water gets turned off, you have to be able to make sure you start stocking up on things, non-perishable things. So that way you will be able to still function. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been stocking up on canned goods, on dry foods and water and things of that nature. And you were talking about the flashlights, the batteries, the chargers. I still have a landline. My friends still laugh at me for having a landline. They're like, dude, why you're paying all that extra money for a landline? I said, well, listen, what if the power goes out?
The power goes out.
I said, exactly. And I need to get in contact with my kids. I need to get in contact with my family. So I still have, even though I don't use the landline, I still have it. It's still functioning.
I don't even answer the landline, but I have one.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the one thing. That's why they passed that law, I don't know how many years ago, right? In case the power grid goes out, your utility phones have to have their own power.
Yes.
And they have.
Have you heard they're talking about cutting those off?
Cutting off the landlines?
Landline? Yes.
I've
because it's
heard,
not making enough money for them. It's costing them more money to have them than not to have them.
It does cost money, and that is part of the. That's part of the. I know the utilities don't want to keep it up, but the thing is that is part of the legal precedence about emergencies. Okay, unless they're going to put now if they want to do separate the cell towers and put them on their own grid, maybe. Okay, but the thing is that the thing is your utility phone company has not only its own power, but it has its own backup batteries, just like a hospital. A hospital has to have backup generators and backup batteries. Yeah, go ahead.
So stay on with the Rick. Rick is going to be coming on as one of my co-hosts in the very near future. He has hosts his own shows.
Okay.
He's an author. He's going to showcase at Black Writers on Tour this year.
Okay.
So he has a lot going for himself, because he's going to be an added person to our staff.
Okay.
But someone had mentioned, you guys, when I was at the emergency preparedness, one guy got up out of all the things we talked about. He said, you guys forgot what you really need to think about. The real emergency is going to be cyber.
Cyber.
And he talked about where you're going to get in your car and it's not going to start. You're going to pick up your phone. He went through all these things. So let's talk about that. What is a cyber attack? What happened when the towers go down for the cell phone?
Okay, that's the issue with the towers and stuff like that. They could do that with an electrical grid. They could do it with a whole bunch of things. The thing is, most cars should be hardened against a cyber attack. Okay, it's very difficult to cyber attack a car. At least, yeah. Right now it is. Okay.
Ask Elon. Okay.
Well, even Elon knows. Okay, you have to. It has to be redundant. You have to be really, really good to cyber attack a car, especially, and each model is different. So it's very, very difficult to actually cyber attack a whole bunch of cars at one time. And most gas powered cars, it's very difficult to actually cyber attack.
Well, you won't be able to get gasoline. Look at all the things that can stop you. That's why I'm telling people, I don't let my car get to half full. I try to keep it 3/4 filled. I'm telling people, think, well, you paranoid. I'm not paranoid, but I see what's going on. Do you think you're going to get to a gas station?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, people think you're paranoid. We just went through this like 2 months ago. The exact scenario that we're talking about. We just went through it.
Yeah, people had to get out of that car and walk the rest of the way.
Had to get out the car and walk the
Do
rest of the way.
people remember the odd and even days?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. But
Do you remember that?
The thing
I
is,
do.
everything that we talked about, okay, if those people that went through the fire had all this stuff prepared, right, they wouldn't have just run out, right, grabbing things, right? They'd been prepared. They went right to their bug out bag, grabbed it, got in the car, and rolled out. Okay, as soon as it was announced. Okay, your portable radio and whatever else, your water. Okay, your battery charge if you're taking a cell phone, all that stuff would have come with you.
Well, we don't want people siphoning gas. I remember those siphoning. I remember those siphoning gas days when you could only get gas on a certain day because people wasn't filling up their tank and they would siphon gas. You had to stand outside and watch your car sit in the window. Hopefully you can go where you need to go the next day. Ricky, what's your take on cyber?
You know, there's cyber attacks that have been happening, and I'm fully aware of the huge possibility of it causing us to not be able to function, like you were talking about the gas part. I mean, what about those cars, those electrical cars? You know, you have a lot of people right now. I don't know if you've read latest, but Tesla is suffering right now because, number one, not just the stock has gone down, but a lot of people are turning in their cars because a lot of people's cars have been stopping right in the middle of the freeway, right in the middle of the street. And that's because of the electrical issues that have been happening. So just imagine if we had a cyber attack. If you could be an electrical car and won't be able to get out because everything's electrical. So as far as I'm concerned, like you said, Dr. Rosie, you definitely need to be able to make sure you have enough gas in your tank. You're able to have that money in your stashed away underneath your mattress or your shoebox, whatever the case is, because it's not about if it happens, it's when it happens, are you prepared, or are you going to be running crazy, losing your mind? I strongly believe that the cyber attacks have been happening. I just think they haven't been happening on a larger scale because the media, you already know, they are only commanded to advertise or to share to the public certain things. And there's a lot of things that are happening that we just don't know about.
The big ones they report. Right. The smaller ones they don't.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
Sometimes a little bit of me thinks cyber attacks are happening with these airplanes.
Yeah.
Oh, now Shawannah, you gonna get in trouble, girl. You gonna have Trump calling you.
I have it on good authority from people that do.
Hey, I'm just saying because AI is taking over the airplanes, and they said that when the AI takes over, sometimes the AI thinks is smarter than the actual pilot.
Yeah,
and some of those things we're having issues with.
Yeah, but they, that on good authority by people on the inside, that's not happening.
Well, something's happening.
Not really. What's happening? What's happening is airplane maintenance is the problem. It's not cyber. Okay, it's the people that actually maintaining the airplanes and the way that they're built.
Oh, maybe I should say terrorist attacks. No.
No, not even.
Honestly,
that's
not happening. Going on out here.
Oh, okay. The biggest thing, and most of those things are Boeing, right? Because Boeing has had issues with their airplanes for the last 20 years. They've been underreported. And then there's two things going on because I got people that do this stuff. I have people that work for the airlines. I have people that do this on a regular basis, right? There's three things going on with it right there. One is the airplanes have defects, okay, like the doors blowing off, stuff like that, okay? The second thing is maintenance because they have to cut personnel, okay?
Uh-huh.
And the third thing is just pilot error. That's happening a lot. Okay, because a lot of your senior pilots had to retire, so they've been hiring very, very young pilots.
The real deal is It's what the media choose to report. Because someone gave me a report last week. There's many planes fell last year that did this year, but it was not highlighted in the media. That's what you got to understand. But let's take a call.
It depends on the plane. Most of those planes are small planes. Most of them are small
but
planes.
But
the
Dr.
big
Rosie
ones you
just
can't hide.
stated it's true.
It's actually true.
Dr. Rosie just
Many
stated
planes fell. Last year, it's failed this time. Let's take a call.
Actually, more planes failed last year than they did this year. They're just being reported this year.
Hold tight, you guys. We're going to take a call. We have a caller calling on 626-773. Go ahead. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and what's your take. 626? Going once?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
What's your name?
Good morning, Dr. Rosie. My name is Brenda Ellis, and I'm actually a resident of Altadena. I grew up there, and so I know firsthand how that happened, and as far as how the people reacted in such a quick notice and how they had to move. My mother left with just the clothes on her back. So I understand how important this conversation is, and since that particular time, I have reached out to be a volunteer for Red Cross because I see how that agency was just a lifeline between Red Cross and FEMA. If these two agencies were not in place, I don't know what would have happened to my city, because my city is gone. There's a few places that are still standing here and there, sprinkled here and there, but the city as we know it is gone. And it is imperative that people prepare for, like you said, it is not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when emergencies are going to happen. So I thank you for this program and for getting this information out to the public. And I just pray that the public will listen.
Wow. Thank you so much for your call. That's why we archive these shows. Every show we do that's important like this, you can go to YouTube, to my YouTube site. That's Dr. Rosie 11. Just click in Dr. Rosie YouTube, or go to drrosie.com, my website, and click on archive, and you'll be able to listen to this show again. So I'm suggesting to everyone, it's packed. People are listening. So we want to say to you, tell your friends to go to drrosie.com. That's my website, and click on archive, and you'll be able to see the other important shows that we have on YouTube. It is so critical that we get this information out. When you're looking at people who go to bed, don't have $1 in their house, don't have a dime. My dad used to always say, keep a dime. He said that because at that time it cost a dime to make a telephone call. When we would go out dating, he always said, you have enough money, baby, to call daddy. Okay? So that was a dime. So now you can't even find a phone anymore. Can you do that?
No, you can't. No, they don't have.
No such thing as public telephones now, right?
No, they got rid of those to sell cell phones. Yeah.
Wow. But folks, this emergency thing is no joke. It needs to be. You need to call your family together. You got to sit down with each one and talk about, if one is handicapped, you got to talk about who needs to take this person, who's going to bring, where's the wheelchair, who's going to do this. All of these things got to be talked about. If you have a relative that's on oxygen, you better be thinking about, particularly they're on continuous oxygen, they must have the oxygen 24/7. What you going to do? Are you going to call 911 so they can get them to the hospital to get oxygen? Hey, these are things you got to talk about. And I'm sure they have to have some backup battery. I need to look into that too, about that oxygen, because that's a real problem. There's a lot of people on oxygen. A lot of people are sick. You got patients at home or hospice, and people not having these conversations. What you going to do? Just run off and leave them? What you going to do?
Basically, you have to think, if you can think about how you can survive in the wilderness off the grid, basically you can figure out what you can do during an emergency, right? You can have like solar cells actually and a battery backup that can run AC for a certain amount of hours, a certain amount of devices, okay? They do sell those, okay? and
Right.
they're not. They used to be really expensive, but they're not expensive anymore. So
They're
there's a lot of
not.
different ways. Yeah, there's a lot of
They're
different ways
not.
you can actually slice this pie.
Right. They're not expensive. So I'm suggesting everybody listen, if you need to call your friend, tell them to get a battery lamp. They're very, I mean, I think my son paid like $20 for one, and I think they got one for $42, but it does a little bit more. You can get the battery for your cell phone, and please make sure you know how to shut your gas off if there's an emergency. There are particular emergencies when you need to shut the gas off. Probably if you have fire in your house, you want to go cut it off too. When you
or an earthquake, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to do that. How do you shut the water off? If the water just a pipe burst and water is spewing up every place, would you know how to go shut it off, or would you have to call 911 or run across the street and get your neighbor? What would you do? What would you do? But we are too lax about everything. We better get our head out of the sand and start looking at all, because we almost had a tornado here the other day. We did have one, you guys, about 20-some years ago. It took the top off of the convention center. Cats was flying in the air. Cars were turning over. I witnessed that right here in Los Angeles.
I remember that.
Animals. You remember that, Keith?
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen again, you guys. So let's get ready. Let's get ready.
And what I was going to say, I wanted to say something about shutting off the gas for everyone. That if you shut off the gas, make sure that it is an emergency, because if it really is not an emergency and you shut off the gas, then you will have to wait for the gas company to come back and turn it back on.
They have to
and sometimes that will take days. They will,
They have to check your leaks and all that kind of
stuff. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Right. And then also, if you want to learn what she's taught with Dr. Rosie and what we're talking about right now, go to YouTube so that you can know how to shut off the gas, how to turn off the water, where to look for the water. And you should know it today as opposed to waiting until tomorrow when you really need it.
Yeah, don't be running and looking, because don't bother me in the emergency. I'm trying to handle mine. I don't want the neighbor running across the street talking about Dr. Milligan.
Right, and don't shut off the gas.
Well, we calling you first.
Don't practice shutting off the gas.
No, don't practice. But folks, really, I can't. Please get some. You know, people said to me, Ricky, during Katrina, I heard people who was not involved. Well, why did those people didn't leave? Why they just sit it out? I said the same reason you couldn't leave. I said the same reason some of my family members couldn't leave. So they don't have enough money to put gas in the car to get across that bridge. So stop talking silly. What's in your account?
Yes.
What's in your house?
Yes.
When we start criticizing other people, those people could not leave. If they left, where were they going to stay? Did they have a credit card? Did they have money to pay to go to a hotel? So, folks, we better start thinking, because we could be in that same situation. Your sister, your brother, your mother could be in that same situation if something happened in L.A. That's why we are having this conversation, that you got to go to your mother's house and see how safe it is. How will we get mommy out? How will we do this? This is a family affair, folks. It's time to take it home. You know, everybody's sitting and worried about the White House. You better worry about your Black House. I keep telling you, that's the house that you need to get straight. Make sure all of your important documents, you know where they are. If you don't have them in the cloud, but everybody's putting everything in the cloud since the fire. But I'm saying, okay, now that cloud may burst. Keep on. All this stuff going up there. Wherever your documents are, have them. You don't have to be looking in this drawer and some over here in that drawer. Put all your important documents in a particular briefcase or whatever. That all you have to do is grab it up. Where's your medicine? Is some in the living room and some in the bathroom and some in the kitchen? Folks, this real talk we're having today. Real talk for real people. So I want you to think about it. This isn't a nice to know topic. It's life or death. So, do your family know what to do? Do you know what to do? Do everyone in your family know what to do? I think it's time to have that conversation. You can talk to us here 310-928-7733. It's 310-928-7733. And the technician is going to put the time that this show is going to re-air again tonight. Mr. Ricky, you're still on the line with us. You have another comment?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do. What I've been doing, and this is simple for people who are saying, well, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. People start getting candles, start getting candles, because that is the most simplest form of light that you can have. I know for me, there's been a lot of blackouts lately in my area, a lot of blackouts, just because of electrical blackouts, and then they will send text messages saying that we'll hope to get the power restored at this particular time. Well, there was a time, I remember last year, where I believe that my power was out for about 7 hours.
Yeah.
And so, and it happened right when it got dark. Mm-hmm. Like right when it got dark. So that means the whole entire block was dark. Mm-hmm. Thank God I had candles.
Yeah.
Thank God I had candles. My boys were like, Dad, what do we do? I said, we're gonna sit up here and talk about the Lord. We're gonna pray. We're gonna exchange stories up underneath these candles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went old school, but this is the thing. We were prepared because we had candles. Imagine if we didn't have candles. Mm. So I tell people, make sure you got a lighter, make sure you got some candles, make sure you have things in place, because there are a lot of things that you can't control. And so you have to make sure that, like you said earlier, start off small. Just like every week, like try to get something every week to add to your emergency kit.
Yeah.
Because an emergency kit is so important right now, with just the bare essentials, like the flashlight, like you said earlier, the batteries, the candles, make sure, and like I said, and canned foods. I keep telling people, get your canned food set. Like, continue to collect canned foods, because there's going to come a time where you ain't going to be able to go to the grocery store. There's going to come a point in time where you're not going to be able to act. So you want to make sure you have the bare essentials in your, like for example, my mom, she has a garage that she calls the emergency storehouse now. She has all these cabinets where every week her and her husband go to Sam's Club, and they are always getting the paper towels, the toilet papers, everything that you can imagine. She always tells me, she says, listen, I'm stacking up, I'm being prepared, because we just don't know. I said, hey, that's what you have to do, because it's to have resources for other people, because there's going to be some people that's going to need some resources. So if you're fortunate and blessed enough to have a lot of things at your disposal for people who may not have them, make sure you let the people close to you know, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I have some resources in the event that you may need them. We are a family, and we have to stick together, and you don't know what people are going through unless you really start asking questions and putting it out there.
Yeah, because we basically, especially with food and paper goods, stuff like that, we're in a just-in-time basis, right? If that truck doesn't show up, every day, then you could run out. It's it. We remember just before COVID happened, what happened with the stores and the grocery stores and paper goods. Shelves were empty, especially
people fighting over toilet tissue.
Paper goods, and dry staples, right? All the top ramen and rice and all the dry staples were gone. Okay, they fortunately they left the meat. Okay, but all the basic staples were gone. So
and one of the other things too is important, folks, that we need to have. And most people, you go to their house, if you cut your finger, you can even find a Band-Aid. Yes. Folks, you need a first aid kit. Think of an emergency. Something fall from an earthquake, bust you across your head. Here you have a bleed. What you going to do? You need to have a first aid kit. You need to have those, pads to stop bleeding, 4x4 pads. You need get you some Neosporin ointment. Folks, I'm telling you, these are things you have to have. Keith, do you realize most people do not have anything in their home when it comes to first aid?
Yeah, I know. I do know.
Folks, that's important. Think about it. You could cut your foot running. You could glass shatter. windstorm come through and blow the window out, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta have your stuff, folks. Cause don't come. I'm gonna be like in the Bible with the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins.
The floods, the frogs, the fires. All that kind of stuff.
5 laying up sleeping. The other one was getting ready, and then they come. Well, can we have some of your oil? I'm saved, but I'm filled with the Holy Ghost, but you better have your own oil. That's all I'm saying. So, folks, do what you got to do. And ask yourself, and I want you to call your family. I want you all listening to call your family and have this comment. Ask them this question. If an earthquake hit, if a disaster struck tonight, would your family be ready? I want everybody who listens, I want you to get on that phone call every family member you have and ask that question. I want you to call all the friends you have and ask that question. And then I want you to tell them to go and check the show out. Go to Dr. Rosie, DrRosie.com and click on archives for Express Yourself show. Or just go to YouTube, folks. Ask your family this question. Now, does everyone in your household know what to do? As Rick had mentioned, ask them, how much food do you have in your house? Do you keep water? So there can come a time that the water coming from your faucet will be unsafe to drink. Like it's unsafe to water your grass with. Now, something wrong with this water. Let me just throw that. Something wrong with this water.
That's why
I was watering my grass, running up my water bill, Keith, and the grass wasn't looking like anything.
Okay.
It rained one day.
Oh, yeah.
And it is so green. I said, wait a minute. Wait now. Something's wrong with this picture. How come the water that I've been watering it with didn't do nothing? I'm just saying. Let me get off of that. I'm just saying.
Basically, the clouds basically energize the water. So the water that comes down from clouds is different than the water.
Energy.
It's energy, yeah.
No, they have chemicals in the other water.
No. This is,
That's true. It does have chemicals. It has everything.
It does. It has chemicals in each one. I got a Kangen machine, which is an alkaline machine, and before you hook it up, they have you check out your zip code to see what type of chemicals are put in the water in your zip code.
Yeah, but there's electricity in the water coming from the clouds. It's not in the water that's when it's settled. Okay. There's a difference in the water.
The water you get from the rain, that's God's water. Okay?
That's God's water.
Yeah.
That's God's
It's got more energy in the water. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what I want you to do is ask your family this question. Who would struggle the most if disaster hit? And find out that. Ask what would happen. People in your family's on oxygen, are not able to ambulate. Why aren't you all having this conversation about who's going to help grandmama get out? Who's going to help grandpa get out? Why aren't we having these conversations? So we're getting close to being out of time, but what are we saying you need to do? You need to make sure you have a battery lamps. You want to make sure you have a battery charger for your cell phone. You want to make sure you have some cash in your house. You want to know how to shut off your water, shut off your gas. Do you have a fire extinguisher? Do you have cash on hand?
You have cash on hand.
Do you know any of your family phone number if you can't find your cell phone?
Do you have a bug out bag like the young lady said in Altadena, right? And it's actually, the bug out bag's actually for civil emergency if you have to leave the house. But the thing is, the same thing happened during a tornado or a flood or even like in Altadena, a fire, right? Okay.
Yeah.
A bug out bag is something you can go right to, has all your essentials. You grab it, throw it in your car, and you leave with your water and all. You got everything in it that you're going to need to actually leave in an emergency within like 2 or 3 minutes.
Have that and your document, your important document
all your important
page, you guys. That's important with your passport, your birth certificate, mortgage, insurance, because these insurance plans tricky. If you don't find your policy, they may act like they don't know you had.
The good thing about things. The good thing about things like documents, like insurance and stuff like that, once you get settled, okay, if those kind of things are online and safe, you can always download them again. Okay,
Key,
hold up. Yes, ma'am.
What if you don't even remember who your insurance carrier is? Okay, I have folks when I'm doing their trust. Well, let me see who my insurance with.
Yeah, but if it's stored in a folder, you can still find it, no matter what it is. Okay, you can just put insurance on it or house
Shawannah,
insurance.
I don't think Keith is hearing what I'm saying. You get it? Okay. I don't think Keith is.
Maybe it's too highbrow. Maybe I'm not.
If my grandbaby say, "Grandmama don't listen," you would be surprised. And think about put your credit card on.
I have to believe the saint. The saint knows what she's talking about. I'm going to defer to you, okay?
No, you all have that thing together because, you know, what if they have, you know, since people begin to digitize everything, I tell people that who have paid for a trip at a grave site at the mortuary, I said, you better go up there and tell them to show you where it is and show your kids where it's located. I said, because when they transferred over to digital, what if somebody didn't take your stuff over and you don't have your copy where you already paid for your trip?
Well, the thing is, and this is something the tech guys told me a long time ago, right? Information does not exist if it doesn't exist in three places. It should be a hard copy, a local copy on a drive, and then a copy in the cloud somewhere. So it exists in three places.
I told you that cloud gonna burst after a while.
The thing is,
too much information up there in the cloud.
See, if the cloud goes down, you can't get to the cloud. That's why you have your local backup copy on a drive,
you need
right?
Your backup.
And if you don't have that, you always have your physical copy. The thing is, the redundance of all three. Okay, right. In case something, say the house goes up, you can't save your bug out bag, your insurance copy. Okay, those things are either in the cloud.
Well, okay. Keith, let's talk about where you keep that bug out bag. You don't have it in the garage. You better have it. Look, put it in that closet. Put it within reach where you can grab those things. Not looking for it. It's that time, folks. We're in that type of emergency situation. It needs to be where you can reach. Reach up under your bed or under the mattress, wherever you're gonna keep it. Know where it is.
It depends on who you are and what, but a lot of people say keep the bug out bag in the car. Okay.
I wouldn't put nothing in my car the way these hoodlums are stealing cars.
It depends on who you are, right? So, but my people say keep the bug out bag in the car. But the thing is, the bug out bag should be someplace where you can actually get it on the fly. You know, whether it should be either in the bedroom or it should be in the garage, someplace where you know that you could, if something breaks out, you can get it on the fly.
I have it right there by my bed along with my baseball bat. Okay, I have a baseball bat. Yes, I do. That's old school, but baby, y'all may have gun. I got a baseball bat. You walk up in here.
I put
hammer.
Mine in my entrance closet.
Also the hammer with the 9 tools inside, right?
Well, we got something in the chat. Somebody said, "What about a weapon?" Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Emergency. What about a weapon? Somebody asked.
The weapon's good if it's something where it's a civil emergency. Okay, where people are going to bug out like like a disturbance or something like that, where people are going nuts. Then you should have it.
Are you trying to take my food because you didn't save any? I'm just playing.
Okay. The thing is that that's why the bug out bag is good. If it breaks down like that, if it's going to go on more than I say a week or two, where people start getting hungry, you need to leave. Okay, because that people say, well, I got this, I got that. I said, guess what? Is your house fireproof? It's not, right? Yeah. Molotov cocktails will bring you and your house down in a heartbeat. Okay, that's why if it's a civil emergency and people are going nuts, you need to have a secondary place to go. Get a car with your full tank of gas, your bug out bag, and go to your secondary location outside of the main city limits if you can.
Right, and make sure I'm serious about these shoes, you guys. I know a lot of people have these cutouts, these throw back these shoes. Make sure you have a good, solid pair of shoes that you can walk through,
slip-ons. Yeah,
glass
slip-on.
and all this kind of stuff. It may sound small, what we're saying, but for this is really important. Because some people jump up with them slides and them house shoes and trying to run out the house. So, no, we just putting it that way. It's really important. So we want you to walk away, family. Make sure you have a first aid. Everybody needs a good first aid kit. You need one where you can bandage if there's a wound, if there's a cut. Go and get those supplies. You need that. You definitely need to keep some money on hand to get your gas or keep water. As Rick talked about, start stocking up on canned food. Because I don't eat canned food, but I'm stocking up on it because of an emergency. I'm going to eat it, but I don't like processed food and that kind of stuff. But it ain't about that. It's an emergency. You can't worry about, well, I'm vegetarian. I'm going to be vegetarian, animalitarian, everything else if I'm hungry. Okay, so let's make sense out of it. So you may say, I can't have no money at home. I'm barely making it. So every time you go to the store, when you have dollars left for change, put it in a jar, put it someplace. Don't tell me that you cannot save some money. In fact, I wrote a book called Getting Out of Debt Made Simple. People who were not in debt, it reverted into a saving mechanism. You can start saving money from the kitchen. Look how much food, leaving out food, wasting food, eating out, going to Starbucks. Look at the stuff that you can cut off, folks. Right. You've got to have some savings. You need some money, okay? It's going to be really important. Someone has something in the chat, Keith. What is it?
Okay. I said, you had to, what about a weapon? Okay. What do you do with your pet? At what point should you just let them go and fend for themselves? And that's, when, okay, you'll know when that happens is when you can no longer feed yourself. Okay. Then it's best to let your pet go and fend for itself. Okay.
You take it off in your car. You can put them in there with you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you'll know. The thing is, as far as your pet is concerned, if it's that big of an emergency where you have to let your pet go, you'll know. Okay.
Yeah, don't sacrifice your life to. No. Well, I better not say that because people so in love with pets, they be sending me hate mail coming up here in my office. You're not an animal lover, so I don't talk. I talk about kids and Negroes and everybody. I don't talk about dogs. I don't talk about folks' dogs. Okay.
You know when you can't care for you. Hopefully it never gets to that because that's pretty extreme where you have to let your pet go, and hopefully it never happens. But the thing is, you'll know when you need to let go of your pet because you won't be able to feed yourself. Okay? Yeah. When you can't feed yourself, then just kind of let go.
Speaking of that, Keith, then stock up on pet food. Stock up on pet food too. Yeah. Come on, if you have a dog. You have an emergency, you can't get to the store. Do you have, why not have the dry food there for your dog?
Hey, you might have to eat it yourself.
You have food for your kids.
You might have to eat it yourself.
You have to eat it yourself, Well, you guys, the clock on the wall is getting to an end. Ricky, I'm so glad you could join us today, and you got a chance to meet Shawannah, the real estate guru. You got a chance to meet Mr. Keith. So you got a chance to meet the family. And we're going to have you joining us, and I wanted you to get a flavor to see, Shawannah, you have to be careful with her. She's the little valley girl, okay? She's the little black girl trying to be valley. So,
yes.
I'm still black in the valley.
Well, I went to school in the valley, so I'm all about the valley girl. So
I'm a beach kid, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm straight out of the cotton fields, okay? Ain't nobody playing with y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Look, we have something else in the chat, and we're going to wrap up and get up out of here. It's been nice, I hope even for our co-hosts, I think each of us have learned something on this show ourselves. What do you think?
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I was with a guy, learned from a guy. That's all they talk about is preparedness, and they, from the small to the extreme. So that's where the book out there.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, Dr. Rosie. I know how to shut off water. The one thing I did say
but do you know how to boil water?
I don't know how to shut off that gas. I don't know how to shut off that gas. I don't know how to shut off gas, but I learned.
Okay.
I learned just now.
You don't have to boil water. Basically, if you get a good high grade water filter, you don't need to boil water. Just run it through.
Oh, okay.
That's
Look,
what it's made
also
for.
what you can do with the shutoff valves, with the valves too, you can get a shutoff valve because they have earthquake shutoff valves.
They
if
do.
you have an earthquake, it automatically shuts it off.
It should shut off itself. But just in case, in case, things don't always do what it's supposed to do, y'all. That's why I'm talking like this. Things don't always work. Somebody have in the chat said they have human grade pet food.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Oh. Now, see, I ain't down for all that.
You're not a pet lover. That's why.
Well, I'm just
it's
not
human
down.
grade, but you're not going to eat it.
Well, why do you say
you will not eat it?
You would. It depends on the emergency. If you're out there and that's all you got, and you've been hungry for 2 days, you'll eat it.
Be pushing that cat and that dog back, grabbing their food.
Holding your nose.
Like Dr. Rosie, you're like, give me that dog food.
No, you know what I say? Because, I'm a Christian, Shawannah, so I'm going to say, I'm just going to bless it. All things that God made is good. Give me this food.
Okay. All right.
You guys, the clock on the wall said that's all. Ricky, thank you for joining us. Shawannah, Keith.
Thank you.
This has been an awesome show, you guys. Those who listen, make sure you do the replay at 6 o'clock. That's what it says. Yeah, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It's going to replay. InnerLightRadio.com. That's INNER. InnerLightRadio.com at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also go to YouTube. It should be up in a couple of days, at least 3 or 4 days. It'll be on YouTube. Again, you guys, it's been awesome. Go for yourself and make sure you be safe and get prepared for when it happens. Have a great day, you guys.
Thank you.